recording. Cool. All right, everyone. My name is Molly. Like I said earlier, I'm the general manager here at F45 East Nashville and the Nations. And we are kicking off the new year with our 2022 F45 challenge. If you guys have participated in the challenges before, with Nations, you had one last year that was 6 weeks long. East, you guys have done them where they're 8 and they're 6 weeks. They're going back to 8-week challenges. I personally love that. We have more time to really spend with you guys and nourish you guys and educate you about what's going on and how to really find and sustain healthy eating habits and wellness habits. So without further ado, let me get into this slide and share my screen. Cool beans. All right. And here's where I look like a doofus because I'm not the most tech savvy. Why is it not? Okay, there we go. Welcome to the 8-week challenge. So what is the F45 challenge? F45 challenge is an 8-week community-focused health, fitness, and nutrition program designed to help F45 members adopt a healthier lifestyle and achieve life-changing results. If any of you have talked to any of the coaches, we strongly believe in being strong and eating lots of food and fueling the body, fueling your muscles. So we're never ever going to tell you, you know, like, hey, like eat 1,000 calories a day, eat 1,200 calories a day. That's not realistic. That's not sustainable. We're never going to have you guys adhere to that program. And with the F45 challenge, everything is going to be based on your own body. So it's going to be based on your in-body analysis results. It's going to tell us how much fat you have, how much muscle you have, your weight, your water weight, all these metrics that you guys may not like, but we as math nerds and fitness people, we enjoy learning these things and establishing goals and steps to take to help you guys hit your goals. And with this challenge, everyone's goals look different. You know, some may have, you know, specific body fat percentage goals, pound goals, muscle goals, but with the challenge, we're hoping to teach you all, you know, through the masses, you know, sustainable ways of eating and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. With the challenge as well, we are not excluding anyone. So if you are pescatarian, vegetarian, vegan, plant-based, if you have no eating restrictions, if you're gluten-free, whatever that looks like, us as coaches are able to still work with you on that. So you guys are not excluded on that. Everyone is included. And then with fitness tracking, we've got the F45 challenge app that is a requirement for you guys to download. And I'll walk you through that at the end, as well as MyFitnessPal. We do require that everyone downloads MyFitnessPal. If you've not used that before, I'm happy to walk you through that. But we have found that it's the most universal, most simplistic way to upload and accurately import import your macronutrients, your calories, and all that good stuff. This is us. It's slightly different. Hold on. I don't know why that bar is in the middle. Oh, well, slightly different because this is Rebecca and Andrea and all them. Let me just move this out of the way. Okay, there we go. So that's me in the bottom with F45 shirt on. We got Rebecca, who's a coach, Andrea. Krista, she's one of our newer coaches over at East Nashville, but Rebecca and our head coach, Ben, will be the 2 coaches over at the Nation. So you guys will be split up and divvied up with those individuals. There we go. Challenge resources. Again, with the F45 challenge app, you guys are going to be able to do a couple different things. If you guys are ever traveling for work or, you know, outside the studio for whatever reason, or, you know, maybe you're in a quarantine, you've come in contact with someone, you know, and you're going to quarantine for your 7 to 10 days. You have the F45 challenge app that provides mobility, recovery, strength, and cardio workouts. They're no longer going to be led. There for a while, we were leading online workouts, but at this point, that's something that you can just stream to your TV or have on your phone and do those workouts on your own. But they are the exact same workouts that we're doing in the studio, minus all the equipment. So you're still going to get the same general concept, just in a little bit of a different facet. Learning wise and the learning pieces, every day, every week, F45 is releasing new articles and new tips Whether it's about water intake, whether it's about, how am I able to sneak in and get more vegetables in, sleep, really just healthy habits. How am I able to do these? Or, maybe one article really, really resonates with you versus another, but there's a lot of learning that's going to be here for the 8-week challenge. So again, if you have any questions about things that we're sharing with you guys or questions about the articles, I always stand on the fence that I know nothing, but I can share with you what I do know, even though, obviously I'm a fitness professional, as we all are. And then as far as training goes, you guys already know you have that bread and butter in the studio. You've got the F45 workout. With the challenge, ideally, we've got you guys coming in 3+ times a week for healthy results and healthy habits and healthy benefits. I'm a firm believer in, I don't like missing workouts. So I'm a big, big fan of 4 to 6 times a week. Hit those workouts in. It's beneficial for not only your physical health, but your mental health and your emotional health. I know whenever I'm struggling with something, nothing makes me feel better than getting a workout in. And then the eating aspect of it. So you guys are able to, like I said, track everything in MyFitnessPal, but we have a couple different avenues that you guys can pursue as far as food goes. If you're like myself, sometimes I get a little busy, I don't feel like cooking. You've got 2 options that you guys can pursue as far as having meal plan. So number 1, we've got Clean Eats. It's a local business here. Will Russ is one of my near dear friends, and he owns Clean Eats in Green Hills. F45 challenge members receive 10% off those meals. You pick those meals up on a Sunday, and the macros are on the box. It's very easy, very simple. You can have them that are fresh for that week, or you can even purchase frozen meals, but they're all very macro friendly, high in protein, moderate carbs, moderate fat, and going to be typically very well-rounded meals. So have a carbohydrate, have a nice vegetable, fiber, protein, all those good things that we are looking for in the challenge. So that's one avenue that you guys can pursue. Another avenue, F45 is partnered with Trifecta, which is a meal plan delivery service. And I am just going to be nothing but honest with you guys. Whenever they first revealed this, I ordered 10 meals. Of the 10 meals, I ate 5. And the 5 meals I ate were really good. The other 5, I took one bite at, or I smelled them, and I just was like, I tossed them out. They just were not for me. And it was, for what I received, it was worth the money. But taste-wise, I'm a little picky. If you're a pickier eater, my recommendation is just to cook your food at home. Typically, people with meal plan delivery services don't really exclude. I'm not a Brussels sprouts fan, so they are going to have Brussels sprouts in those meals, and I can't exclude those things. So if you're a little bit on the pickier side, then I would recommend eating at home and cooking your own food. And if you struggle with where to start with that, if you struggle with what that looks like, F45 on the Challenge app has a fantastic section with challenge recipes. And with all the recipes that they provide, they're also giving you grocery list, ingredients. Literally everything that you need is on that app. And then you can always cook your food at home. Or if you're like, I'm just going to wing it and do the macros on my own and not really go based on F45, meal plans or F45 recipes, or I'm not going to go based on Clean Eats or Trifecta, I'm going to do my own thing. You're also more than welcome to do that. Us as coaches are going to be providing you guys with the macronutrients that you need. That way, it's a big puzzle. It's a big math puzzle you can plug and play. And then again, for tracking purposes on the F45 app, you're able to track your workouts, track your sleep, track your water intake, you can track your food on there, but we would really rather you track it on MyFitnessPal, just a cleaner version, but you have that accessible as well. Learning, just went over that, train, track. This is kind of a brief overview and look of what the app will look like tracking wise. So like I said, track your sleep, track your water, your eating. Did you follow your nutrition plan for the day? You're able to track all those things, and us as coaches can view that. And then this is what it looks like from a tracking standpoint as well. Again, we are going based off the most accurate data and the most accurate information that we have, which is an in-body scan. It is personal and individual to you. With the tracking app, or the tracking aspect on the app, as far as your body composition, your weight, your BMR, all those things, that is relatively accurate, but not going to be as accurate because you're just importing numbers there. Whereas the in-body scan is literally going to be running electrodes through your body, and that's how it's going to be creating the numbers that it's going to be giving you off the sheet. If you guys would like us to measure anything, like right here it says chest, hips, thighs, biceps, what all that looks like, let us know. And we can also do measurements as well. Yeah, we've got all the onboarding, all the meal preferences. I would recommend going through the app and kind of playing around with it and getting familiar with the app. We are going to utilize some parts of it And I think it's also too really important just to educate yourself during the challenge about, there's so many bits of information that we're throwing at you. So being able to slow down a little bit and read an article that, may just give you a different perspective, I think would be really important. Eat, we already went all over that. Yeah, we got the cook at home, we've got the order meals and order groceries. I mean, everything on the app, it's very user friendly, it's very clean, but you have a lot of options. So if one works better for you the other week and vice versa the next, by all means, do whatever is going to set you up for the most success. Eating, yep, we got the cook at home, we got all these recipes, and this is what it's going to look like. So it's going to tell you bulk condiments, produce, fruit. I mean, we cooked a lot of the recipes last challenge, and they're very tasty. They're very, very good. So I definitely recommend getting on there and trying out some of those. And it's just kind of fun to experiment too. Might make for a fun date night. Challenge approved meals. We got Clean Eats and we got Trifecta. They're all challenge approved. The challenge phases. So rather than me reading all this, I broke it down pretty simply. We got 4 phases. It's an 8-week long challenge. So each phase is divided into 2 weeks. So this phase 1, the big focus for phase 1 is getting consistent with your macronutrient counting, with your tracking, getting consistent sleep. So aiming for, that 7 to 8 hours each night. I'm a big component in an ounce of water per body weight. I know everyone's a little bit different, but if your goal is 130 ounces of water, then, consistency is what those first 2 weeks are about. It's not about like making sure you're losing a shit ton of weight. We don't want a shit ton of weight loss those first 2 weeks. We want the main focus to be on your mental health and your dedication and discipline to doing the hard thing. So the first 2 weeks is all about, okay, am I consistent with tracking? Am I consistent with water? I'm moving, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. Am I hitting my step count if that's a goal? Whatever that is. We don't want to focus on the scale so much really in the first 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks, we're really trying to hammer in consistency. But then after that 2 weeks, so that spring training, after that phase is over with, we're going to still maintain that consistency. And we're still going to maintain, our sleep, our water, our habits that we've already developed in the first 2 weeks. But we're going to shift things a little bit slightly. So let's say, for example, you crush it the first 2 weeks with your water, with your sleep, with your training. You crush it with your macros, but your coach is viewing what you've eaten and you didn't eat a vegetable for 5 days. Your fiber intake is really low and you're eating a lot of sugar. So that phase 2 week is really going to be about nutrient density and ensuring that we're eating whole foods that are beneficial to us. Now, not beneficial in the sense that you had a shitty day at work and you want to go home and drink a beer and eat ice cream. They're beneficial for us in the long run. So, foods like that and time to eat those things, they definitely have a time and a place. But this 8-week challenge is definitely trying to hone in on that discipline and hone in on you as an individual making the tough decision and sticking with the goal that you've set for yourself, no matter how hard you want to fall off that. So phase 2, we're really focusing on, again, sticking with those goals, but eating vegetables, eating fruits. For me, my goal is, especially whenever I'm busy, I got to eat 1 vegetable a day. So if I got to squeeze that in the morning, I know that's when I'm going to get it, but I'm getting my vegetable in some form or fashion. So really ensuring that we're eating our macros like our coach provided, and we're eating wholesome, nutrient dense food. So limiting, maybe junk, limiting fast food, limiting frozen food, whatever that looks like. Phase 3, we're really diving into, okay, we've established consistency for those first 4 weeks. We've got our macros down pat. We've got our water, we've got our sleep. That phase 3 is where things are going to get a little more challenging. We're going to start lowering those macros and shifting those macros. Again, the first 4 weeks, we're really focusing on ramping that metabolism up. We want that metabolism working in overdrive. That way, as it's fueling your muscles, it's also, I use the analogy of, fats can be coming off of your body like butter. It's obviously not that easy, but that's what I'm envisioning right now in my head. But we're really focusing on those first 4 weeks. We've established great patterns here. And then on that third, or the phase 3 right here, we're lowering those macros. So as we're still fueling your body, we're just allowing for some of that fat to start gradually falling off. But then also too, we're going to be focusing on some health and some micronutrients. So, what's our gut health looking like? If we're noticing that we have some weird bloat or an upset stomach after a certain meal, log that and communicate that to your coach. Let's have a conversation about like, okay, like, this fruit or this vegetable really upsets my stomach. Well, let's find a way that we can limit that. Obviously, we don't want you to feel bad during the challenge, but really trying to hone into what's individual to your health, what's going to work best for your gut health, your immune health. This is when we really start to introduce supplementation as well. So, I know some people have this idea that, like, for example, creatine is going to make you big and bulky, when in actuality, creatine is one of the most researched nutrition supplements out on the market, and is incredibly beneficial for muscle fatigue, muscle soreness, and recovery, which muscle recovery is so important if you guys want to continue to lose fat and build muscle. So that week 3 is when you're going to see lower macronutrients. So we're going to start to cut some of those calories a little bit, and we're really going to be focusing on just the health and the micro side of things. So really starting to implement some supplementation. But the first 2 weeks, we don't really want to, or the first 4 weeks, we don't want to focus too much on supplementation, simply because we do not want to overwhelm you guys. So we're trying to slow step this with you as much as possible, obviously within reasoning. And then the phase 4, the last 2 weeks, truly probably going to be the harder portion of the challenge, because you're like, you know what, I'm almost there. Like, I can kind of slack off a little bit. But if you guys are really wanting to hit your goals and stick with the goals that you have set for yourself, the last 2 weeks are some of the most important. You got to finish what you started. You've got to follow through here. And we're still going to continue to lower those macronutrients. Again, we're never going to have you guys starving. We're always going to have you eating, a lot of food. Some of you probably more food than you have ever eaten before. We had a client from East last challenge. She was on the road touring with a musician for the entirety of the 6-week challenge. I think her highest calorie count was 2,800 calories, and she still ended up losing 7% body fat, and I think like 15 pounds. So she absolutely crushed it on the challenge, but she was eating 2,800 calories a day. So we're not going to have you guys eating, 1,300 calories. We're not going to have you guys eating like birds, because that is going to damage your metabolism. We are looking to benefit your metabolism. In the long run, we're going to have you guys eating a healthy amount, but we're also going to be holding you guys accountable whenever it gets to that time of, hey, I know you're hungry right now, but we've got to find ways to, eat for volume, drink more water, plan accordingly, to how your body feels. So this is also an opportunity for you guys to learn a lot about your body as well. For me, for example, I know that I'm going to eat my higher carb food prior to my workout and earlier in the morning. I need that energy. And then later in the evening, I prefer higher dense fat foods. And so that's something that I've learned about me. So really try to be in tune with yourself. And what helps me too is journaling about how I felt that day, what I ate in comparison to how I felt. Lucky enough for you men, you don't have to worry about hormones, but women, there's definitely going to be some weight gain coming along with whenever it's that time of month for us, and hormonal weight gain, hormonal eating, things of that nature. So I really empower you all to be in tune with your body and to listen to what it's saying. Your body is a great indicator and communicator with how healthy you are and what's actually going on. So listen to your body, listen to what it has to say. But that phase 4, we're really, really, really going to be cutting those calories and seeing what we can trim off for the last little bit. So that's what you can expect with the 8-week challenge and the phases. For you guys, what we require, we have to have a before and after in-body scan. You are more than welcome to hop on that in-body scan at midpoint, but we don't recommend that too much unless you just want to hop on and see what your weight is. So during the challenge, it is a requirement that you do weigh yourself. If you, for whatever reason, and we have in the past had people that feel very uncomfortable knowing that number, just simply lift your head up. We're more than happy to look at that number for you and log that. And if that's something that you are terrified of and do not want to see it, we support you in that. We don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. And then the next thing, we have these before and after photos. So as you can see, this guy right here is taking one to the front, and then we'll have you guys turn to the left, and then we'll have you guys take a back photo, and we will have you do this at your own house. We will also be sending you an email next week about what these photos need to look like, the expectation, and then we'll be logging all this in a specific Google folder, and no one has access to that except for myself. So your photos are safe. Don't have to worry about those getting into anyone else's hands. And then our prizes. So first place, $300. Second place, $200. Third place, $100. Pretty self-explanatory there, guys. No real questions should be asked about that. How do you get started? I didn't finish that slide. Let me or your coach or email the studio know that, hey, I want to do the challenge. What do I got to do? I'll push that challenge fee for you. You'll be all set. The expectation, let me look at my calendar real quick. Cannot recall what the date is. So today's the 19th. So I believe we're actually going to be sending it out on Friday, is an email. And in this email, it's going to have your pre-challenge questionnaire. And so this is really important so we know where you're starting. And again, I empower you all to be very honest with yourself. It's not easy to do these challenges. I mean, it takes a little bit of digging to be like, you know, I eat like an asshole on these days, or I eat like an asshole on the weekend, and this is what's really blocking my progress. You know, be honest with yourself about things that you're wanting to adjust and improve on. And you'll just be very honest with us in that pre-challenge questionnaire. So it's just giving your coach an idea of where you're starting. And then in that email, you'll have the pre-challenge questionnaire. You'll also have the InBody sign-up sheet. That way you can sign up for a time. We ideally prefer that people do the InBody in the morning or before class. So do not do it after class. That's a big, big no-no. But if you can't do it in the morning, that's totally fine. Just make sure that it is before class, because after all the sweating and all the water that you're drinking, it is going to shift your results a little bit, even though you actually may want that for your before InBody scan. I don't know. If you want to cheat the system a little bit, sure, go ahead. But before your workout is when we want the InBody. And then we'll also be pairing you guys with coaches. And if you have any additional questions there, you know, you can ask them. But the pre-challenge questions and then the jot form for the InBody is what you guys will be receiving on Friday after you have purchased the challenge. Thanks. That's it. So let me expand this. There we go. Now that I've shared all that information and talked for a solid 30 minutes, there we go. What, guys, what do you have questions about? You can ask, you can put them in the chat, you know, whatever works. Crickets? Kara? Kyle?
I'll ask one. You said so obviously we used MyFitnessPal for the prior one and
yeah.
for this one. You said that we're gonna share like what we've eaten with the coaches. How does that, like, through MyFitnessPal, or
yeah?
How do we provide that visibility to them?
With MyFitnessPal, you have a way. I think you have to set a password, and the coaches should be asking for it if you want specific feedback based on what you're eating. But there's a password that you have set on MyFitnessPal, and you can even go in there and change that. But basically, it's view your diary, and that's how you can share that with a coach. And either you create a password here. Let me look at it real quick. I can't recall what it is exactly, but there's a password that logs you into your journal, and you're able to share that with your coach.
Okay.
So it's editing my food. So you would befriend your coach, and then from there, they can view things. Trying to see. I'll have to play around with it and get back to you on that, Kyle. But I can't recall. I'm doing it for a nutrition client right now. But she just basically gave me her password, and I have access to it whenever I need it.
Cool.
Yep. Let me write that down so I can get that back to you. All right. Anyone else got questions?
Hey, Molly. Are we gonna have weekly check-ins with our coaches as well?
Absolutely. So what that cadence will look like is, and we fine-tune this and we've automated some of it. That way it'll be a little bit more consistent. But challenges start on Monday. We are going to be sending you guys the follow-up, or like, how did you do this week email Friday morning. And then the expectation is that that email or that questionnaire, that second week or that week follow-up email, is due Saturday evening. That way the coaches can review your plans on Sunday and spit back to you what you need to work on or improve on for that following week. So that cadence is going to look like email sent out on Friday, response due by Saturday night, and you'll receive your plan of attack on Sunday. And I will be honest with you, we're going to set some pretty firm expectations. If you guys are to send in those results on a Monday or Tuesday, just go ahead and prepare that you may not have a response back for 24 to 48 hours. So I want to make sure that you guys are all on the same page and know that Friday, Saturday, Sunday are the days to read that, to input your information. That way your coach has plenty of time to review that and send you back appropriate feedback. Anyone else? We don't have any additional questions. A couple things I want to share that I found were really beneficial just to keep it all in perspective. Number one, I want you guys to get off this. First step, go download the challenge app, play around with that. If you have issues with the challenge app, please let me know. It's a back end issue. I'll have to kind of finagle something, but you guys, since you all have active memberships, should all have access to the challenge app. So just so you're aware of that. And one thing I want you all to think about is if you've done a challenge before, or if you've done anything like this before, or if you haven't done any nutrition challenge, if you've just failed at something in your life, I want you to think about why you failed. And I want you to think about why you weren't so successful in the previous challenge, or why you weren't successful in whatever aspect, and think about reasons why you failed. And then once you've established how you failed, I want you to also take that into this challenge. So be thinking of things that could pop up and get in your way, as far as, you know, for me, for example, I love, and I'm really good and consistent with tracking my macros. I love beer. I drink beer. Beer is my kryptonite. So like, this is a beer right now, even though it doesn't look like it, it's a beer. So I know that if I'm doing the challenge, one way that I would fail is by drinking my calories through alcohol. Not beneficial for weight loss or muscle gain, and also going to be loaded in lots of sugar and alcohol that are going to be considered empty calories. So think of things that may set you up for failure and try to not necessarily avoid those, because if we avoid and restrict so much, you're not going to be very successful with the challenge. So just think of ways that you can overcome that hurdle. So for me, you know, if I'm consistent with drinking 3 beers on a Saturday, you know, maybe I have a lighter beer and I just have, you know, maybe 1 or 2, you know, just things like that. So start thinking of things in a problem solving manner, you know, even though you're like, but it's food and it's nutrition, you know, let's simplify this and think about, okay, I've got a problem here. How do I overcome this solution, or how do I overcome this problem, and what's my solution? You know, whatever that looks like for you guys. If you know that sweets are your kryptonite, my thing is, my big recommendation, make a protein mug cake or drink a protein shake before bed. It's going to, you know, be higher in protein, and then it's going to satiate that really sweet craving that you may have. So spend some time and some thought on that. I really want you guys to be successful during this challenge. And I'm excited to kind of get the ball rolling with you guys. So with that being said, one more time, any other questions? Anybody?
I think I have one quick question. So this obviously is like an info session,
Yeah.
and then the 31st, is there like a kickoff call or an official start? I'm assuming we'll get that paperwork you said on Friday and things like that, but is there like another session we have to look out for, anything?
So what you can, like I said, what you can expect is that this Friday, we're sending you the pre-questionnaire and the JOT form weigh-in for the InBody. So you'll reserve the time for the InBody scan. Once you've taken your InBody, you will then, and we're going to also detail this in the email as well. After you have taken your InBody, you're going to email that to your specific studio. And from there, you're going to have a coach, whoever your specific coach is, email you and say, hey, congrats, I'm your coach. You know, here is your plan for the week. Ensure that you've downloaded both apps and you're good on this front. And then that's what that's going to look like. So it's not necessarily like another info session or another call. It's just going to be a, hey, I'm your coach. I received your InBody. Here's your plan. Like, let's hit the ground running.
Perfect. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Anyone else? Anybody?
Do we meet in person with the coaches at all? I know like last time it was kind of just casual talks after class occasionally.
You're welcome to. I know I had a couple people want to like go snag a coffee and chat during the challenge. I wasn't necessarily a challenge coach last time, but I am pretty versed in nutrition and wellness. So I'm happy to have a conversation with you if you feel like that would help you and Allie be more successful.
Yeah, I was just wondering, like, if we, like, I know last time it was over email with Meshach. I guess I just wasn't sure if that was the standard or.
The main communication will be email.
Okay.
And just to play devil's advocate, we've been on the side where we, have opened up our personal numbers and just have been blown up, and we're trying to
Right.
also respect boundaries as well. But as far
Yep.
as that goes, I mean, Ben and Rebecca are going to be the nation's coaches, and they are always down to have a conversation. I think Ben is really fantastic about making things a lot more personal and getting to know more people on that personal level. So I do foresee Ben having conversation with people, but it's not going to be something that is required or an expectation.
Okay. Yeah. No, I was just curious.
Cool. All right. Kara, you've been quiet. Got any questions?
No, shut the fuck up.
Okay. Love you too. All right, guys. Well, with that being said, have a great evening. I feel like it's a Thursday. Happy Wednesday. Tomorrow's a strength day, and it's actually a really good workout. So make sure that you guys are pre-booking those classes. And actually, before I close, classes are starting to fill up. If you are fortunate enough to know your schedule and to have a set schedule, please pre-book your classes. We're starting to really run into waitlist issues and people just walking into class over in the nations. In East, same thing. We're on that trajectory as well. So just make sure that you are reserving that class for yourself. We do have limited equipment on the floor, for X amount of people. So make sure you're pre-booking those classes. And that's all I got for you guys. Have a great evening. I will talk to you all soon.